which has been put into a new grant called COVID-19 component. And then 47 million they reprioritized within conditional grants. So in total, Department of Health had an increase of 1.2 billion, taking their budget to 16 billion for the current financial year. Department of Culture, Sport and Recreation had a net reduction of 89.7 million rand. And this is one of the departments that had new money coming to the department, amounting to 28 million, which is specially dedicated to the high altitude center. That is a project that the department is supposed to deliver on. The Department of Social Development didn't have any new money coming into the vote. They had a net reduction of 147 million, of which 40 million is from capital projects and the rest is from transfers and subsidies, because during closure, not all NGOs were functioning. The last department is Department of Human Settlements. They had a net increase of 6.7 million, but this is despite the fact that the department had to lose money in terms of contribution towards the COVID. An additional 182 million was added to the department. This 182 million is mainly for infrastructure projects, where the department was asked by Cabinet to go drill boreholes in schools to support schools and some communities. So this 182 million is also going towards the fight for fight against COVID. Honorable Chair, I would like to stop there, because that's a summary of how much was deducted from each vote to contribute to the 1.6 billion that was reprioritized mainly towards Department of Health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Treasury. Honorable members, colleagues, stakeholders, there is the presentation before us here. Now I will continue the next item. I should think now it's time for stakeholders to make their inputs, their comments, questions, and so on. That is item number 5. Am I correct?
You are correct, sir.
Yes. Who is the next to start the input?
So we will start with Kosato.
Okay.
We have the Thabo Mokoena on the line.
Okay, thank you very much. Kosato.
Thank you, Chair.
May you continue, Chief. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me greet honorable members, colleagues, and everybody present in the meeting. We want to appreciate the opportunity given. On behalf of COSATU and the POB's PEC collective, we have analyzed and assessed the budget as presented. We know that, of course, we have limited space to operate or maneuver, because it is a budget that you have very little to can impact on. But of course, we will have to make some inputs as to how we can mitigate within the constraints. We have analyzed the budget as per each department respectively. We want to welcome the positive injection that has been made to those other departments. We also want to express some disturbances and disappointments with the reduction in the revenue of other departments and the cash injection in these other departments. Our view is that you see, the frustration is that when you find yourself in a very difficult in such an environment we are operating under. The environment we are operating under is such a difficult and an environment that will require financial capacity in which we have to ensure that we provide proper service and quality service to our communities and everybody who is dependent on our state. Now, we will want to indicate, maybe let me come to the specific areas here, because this was just an overview that I wanted to make. When we come to the specific areas, we want to come particularly to the health department. We say we want to appreciate the fair injection that has been put in the department. We are hopeful that with the positive injection made in the health department, we will be able to make the necessary impact of ensuring that all those that find themselves having to benefit from the challenges brought by the pandemic are provided with quality service and quality health care. That's all what we want to emphasize. We are saying quality health care and quality service will prevail in that department. We are hopeful with the positive injection that has been made. And I also want to come specifically to the one of the Department of the Department of Treasury in particular, which is your finance. In our finance, I think this is the department that we believe it is the mainstay of our economy, and which will have to guide as to how, as a province, we are able to survive through the pandemic and the storm we are confronted with. Now, one thing that becomes critical, which we want us to look into, is to say our department, particularly in Treasury and Finance, what is critical is that those particular what do we call them? We call them areas, economic drivers. If I should use that conceptualization. Those economic drivers, in which we hope that the economic drivers will ensure that they will bring the necessary injection into the economy, and they will bring the necessary life into the economy. We have observed that you have your different you have your Mpumalanga Passport, you have all those agencies. All these things, these are the economic drivers that we believe that if we could use them effectively and they can work effectively. Those are the integrated systems that we can utilize to ensure that we bring life into the economy of the provinces. Now, what we also find missing here is that we don't find much space wherein we speak to all the issues that actually drive the economy. You know, our province is reliant on agriculture, which we must appreciate. I think it finds expression there. Our province is reliant on sawmill and forestry. which I don't find expression of on how we are going to utilize that kind of economic life in making sure that we ensure that we get the necessary revenue in the province. Our province is reliant on its agriculture, its tourism. I also want to appreciate, I really want to appreciate, we also want to appreciate as the Federation that there is a move, there's some significant move that has been made, that we are doing some work in ensuring that we bring some more life in injecting some capital expenditure in tourism to make sure that we are able to provide the necessary cash injection and economic activism in the tourism industry. I think those are the issues that needs to be looked into. But what is very critical as a federation moving forward, I think it will be, as I conclude and step off this particular item on this issue of treasury, is that we will need to have a dedicated session to look into how we engage critically and thoroughly to deal with how, as a province of Mpumalanga, we will have to find measures of dealing with the adverse impact that has been brought by the pandemic in the lives of our people and broadly to the society. The other department that we wish to want to emphasize to come to is the Department of Social Development. The Department of Social Development, as COSATU, we are saying, it has an obligation. It's a department which is at the forefront of ensuring that we push back poverty. We push back the levels of starvations that are confronting the province. Now, if we have to do that, it will be very critical that when you do all that, you need to have a system that is capable of providing and giving thorough life or thorough support, which will make sure that the department is efficient and is effective in alleviating the poverty that has engulfed the entire province. Now, our call as the Federation is to say, we will really plead that let's look thoroughly into social development and see the efficiency of that particular department in ensuring that we are able to provide the necessary support to all our communities with the little resources that we have. Let's ensure that we are able to distribute those resources and ensure that they are distributed fairly and adequately to all the needy communities. Lastly is the issue of safety and local government. I mean, safety and local government. On safety, yes, indeed, we want to emphasize that the issue that we want to emphasize on is on staffing, it's on goods and services, because this is where it's an area where we lack, which we need to give much more attention. You will take note that on health, on safety and security, the area, these are the frontline workers. Now, you need to ensure that those frontline workers are adequately resourced with the adequate resources which will make them do their work efficiently. Hence, we will emphasize issues of goods and services in this particular area. Particularly, we also want to say, let's look thoroughly into how we can adequately look into areas where we resource them with the necessary human personnel, because that is one thing that the human resource personnel is something that we must look into, looking into the meager resources that we are having. Lastly, Chair, is on local government. On local government, Chair, I think I will, before even I step off, I move out of the Department of Safety and Security. I want to link the Department of Safety and Security with public works. Public works must be found to be moving across all departments in ensuring that in all departments are adequately provided with the necessary infrastructure, the necessary resource capacity in ensuring that they perform their work with ease. That is one thing that we want to emphasize. It's one thing I thought we should speak to. The Department of Public Works must cut across all departments which I have just mentioned, health, education, and all other departments, such that we are having an efficient service to our community and quality service for all. The last one is the one of your municipalities, which is your local government. In our local government, we also want to indicate that we appreciate that there are resources that are there that have been injected. Our main concern, which we will always, as the Federation, impress on, is the issue of ensuring that there is proper financial accountability, financial administration, and management, such that we are able to have value for the resources that we are spending. If we are able to have that capacity, it's one thing that as the Federation will always appreciate and acknowledge. And Chairperson, as I conclude, I just want to indicate that while we find ourselves in the most difficult times, we acknowledge as the Federation, we acknowledge. And we are saying we really have to exercise financial prudence. In order to exercise financial prudence, it means every cent that we have, we must spend it effectively, such that we are able to account for every cent that we spend in every department, so that we are able to trace whatever we have used to can be able to say, this is how the money was spent, this is how we can account for. If we can exercise financial prudence, we are hopeful that we can make the necessary impact. But of course, Chair, I always I speak on behalf of the collective, but I know that as the Federation, we are representing a number of departments, a number of sectors in the employment sector. If there is anything that I have left out, I will request and plead with the chair to say, if there are additions that needs to be added, let other colleagues be allowed, colleagues from my constituents from COSATU to add, so that we take note of that and move on. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, COSATU, Mr. Mkweno, the Secretary of the Federation in the province. Can we check if there is any affiliate that want to make an input? And Preeti will indicate to me so that we can allow them to make their input where the Secretary has presented their information before us. Affiliation, is there anyone want to add on what the Secretary has said? Indicate your sector. It seems, Secretary, everybody.
Morning, Chair.
Morning.
It's Chairperson of SATU.
Oh, SATU Education.
Yes, Chair. How are you?
I'm fine, and you, Nopala. Over to you.
No, thank you very much, and morning to all members of your committee. We appreciate the presentation by the Secretary of COSATU, and we are of the view that he has captured all the things that we wanted to raise as the Federation. And we appreciate this move very much, and we thank you, Chair, for your time.
Thanks very much, Satu. There any affiliate that want to make an input before I close this item and go to another?
Chairperson?
Yes, sir.
It's Provincial Secretary of Nehao. Welcome.
Oh, Nehao, over to you, Chair, over to you.
Chairperson, morning to all the colleagues in this meeting. We are covered by what the Secretary have said. Actually, it represents our view. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nehao. Is there anyone? I close now. Is there anyone? Rosato, are you fine now? All of you? Secretary? Of COSATU.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think moving forward, it's a process that we will engage moving forward with, looking into other areas which will require urgent attention. We will indicate as and when we will require such. It's an ongoing process. Thank you for the opportunity, Chairperson.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, COSATU. I heard you. We'll take the matters forward. The next stakeholder, Preeti.
Thank you, Chair. On our list, the next stakeholder is Helga. However, Chair, I do not see Councillor Mngomezulu online. Chair, can we move maybe to PSC? We have Miss Meso online.
Yes, but
PSC,
before
yes.
Can you check Councillor Mngomezulu? Have you connected? Councillor Mngomezulu, are you there? Councillor Mngomezulu, are you there?
Yes, Chairperson, how's it?
I'm fine, and you? Okay.
I'm good, my leadership, and greetings to all the leadership present in this public hearing.
Okay.
Yes, it's just that we only received the link probably just immediately after 10. We will make our comment as and when the hearing progresses, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, no thanks, then Salga. We'll put you on
Pleasure.
hold. PSC?
Yes.
Over to you.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning to all the colleagues in the Provincial Treasury and all other stakeholders and in the legislature. It's Salome Miso as indicated from the Public Service Commission. We welcome the presentation. We have perused through and analyzed the submissions that were made. And what we would like to just encourage generally is that amid the COVID-19 pandemic that we currently are in, we just encouraging also that with all the departments, they need to just ensure that financial policies are being followed in line with the constitutional values and principles while they are dealing with these with the adjusted budgets, and also the programs. They need to just realign them so that at least as they work, they can ensure that it's efficient, it's effective, and there's also economical use of resources in the public service. So we just encouraging that as they continue executing their duties and with their service delivery mandates in the various departments, they must just make sure that expenditures are in line with the budgets that are allocated, that transparency is being continued as well. And they need to just closely monitor also and keep data on the spending and the procurement information as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Can we move to the next stakeholder?
We have Human Rights Commission. We have Mr. Eric Mukonyama.
Human Rights Commission.
Good morning,
Good
morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. all protocol observed. We appreciate the presentation and feel honored to have been invited to this public hearing. We have gone through the bill and we were listening carefully to the presentation, and we really appreciate the reprioritization of the resources really to the Department of Health, considering the situation we all find ourselves in. And our call really is just to plead with all stakeholders, particularly government departments, that in implementing the programs, they have a human rights lens in doing their work. We acknowledge that all these processes are really meant to ensure that our communities are able to enjoy their constitutional rights, which are enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution. We will be working together with all stakeholders to make sure that in terms of our monitoring processes, that the rights of all citizens and people in the province are respected and they are protected as the processes unfold. Thank you so much, Chairperson and honorable members.
Thanks very much, HRC. The next stakeholder, Preeti.
Chair, we were supposed to take Sanko. However, I do not see Ms. Oya online. We will then move to the next stakeholder, which is the African National Chamber of Commerce and Industries. I'm not sure if they are online.
You say African
National Chamber of Commerce.
National Chamber of Commerce. Can you make your input? African National Chamber of Commerce. Over to you. African National Chamber of Commerce, are you there? Over to you.
Okay, Chair, we move to South African Municipal Workers Union. Municipal Workers Union, yes.
Sam, over to you. Sam, over to you.
We move, Chair, to the South African Council of Churches.
Abafundis. South African Council of Churches, over to you. Over to you, Abafundis. South African Council of Churches? None. Can you move?
Okay. We have the South African Student Congress.
South African Student Congress, over to you. From the University of Mpumalanga, ne?
No, not that one, Chair. We can move to, we can move to the Student Representative Council from the University of Mpumalanga.
SRC, ne?
Yes.
Mpumalanga?
University of Mpumalanga.
Yes. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. Thank you very much, Chair. First, I want to appreciate the budget reprioritizing of the Mpumalanga Legislature that is given to us. Firstly, the Mpumalanga is rising into becoming an epicenter. Our institution is within two parts and two districts in particular, which is in Kangala and in Nhlazeni. Both of these districts are having different number of students who are coming from geographical spaces that we know that some part of having the epicenter. So seeing that there's a reprioritizing on the health department in terms of budget increase from it. We truly appreciate it as we see that our students will materialize those clinics that are near to them, as they can use also those hospitals that are near them. But also the reprioritizing of this Department of Health must make sure that the department effectively assist all the regions where there are challenges in terms of health, because the epicenter is too high now. And there's a condition that happened that our student was affected by an illness. Then they went to go to a clinic, find the clinic closed. So those conditions, just like that, we need to find ways to anchor them. But we see the budget will assist us very much. Secondly, since there is a budget reprioritizing, we are very much sometimes jubilant that we have departments that work hand in glove with the institution, as earlier on the Department of Basic Education that have met us. In terms of seeing that Mpumalanga is still an economic hub through its mining and agricultural activities. But also we have to see the realities that the budget is not over-enthusiastic in terms of the payment, because the number of needs seems to have dominated by rural communities. It will cause that some departments will use the budget and it become minimum when it's cascading throughout the districts and the municipalities. So I just want to anchor again that the University of Mpumalanga has made its own breakthrough to make its own form of a sanitizer, that it's within the standard of what is required to be the sanitizer, the 70% alcohol and other forms of chemical. So we need to make a partnership, more of a social compact, which President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about, that between stakeholders we must anchor and hold ourselves with each other on the hands to make sure that we fight against this pandemic. And it will truly become a huge investment, because it's going to put the departments and the legislature, which is already cash-strained, even the social economic stimulus from national 500 billion is not enough to assist us, because our state of infrastructure is not that much. But this is just something that can also curve the ball, maybe a partnership between the Department of Health and the University of Mpumalanga in terms of them facilitating the way of procuring these sanitizers, just to minimize the cost, because we know that it's already expensive to procure it. Then, in terms of the budget on towards the safety and security, I also want to anchor this, that the investment that we don't put much into the safety and security is one of the biggest challenges that we are having within our society. And in fact, we have to look at thoroughly trying to curb, because safety and security directly with social development are working partners that towards the issue of gender-based violence. So if for these departments that they don't get sufficient support in terms of the budget, because from our perspective as students also, we believe that the institutions such as the legislature must invest further in the society, must make security as its biggest priority, because these are frontline people who defend the interest of our society, including those ones who are marginalized. So the budget of the safety and security is acknowledged, but from our side as a university, we are still, as students, very concerned that there is not much priority given to the safety towards our livelihood as students within this bound of Mpumalanga. Then in terms of social development, I was strongly concerned in the budget reduction, because the budget reduction is a lot of families are destitute, which means that they are relying on support. And the department, even though it's trying and with its social compact, we feel that it's not even giving enough support to NPO and NGOs that are trying. We do see that, because there are students and members of Mpumalanga that are trying. But we're very much concerned that the budget reduction in terms of the NPO and NGOs, it means that the support that they're supposed to receive from this department, again, is going to be minimized. So we are very worried that this is only beneficiary from one side, not for the whole stakeholders at large. And in terms of and the value towards how the legislature is assisting contrary to the university, especially its students. We appreciate the partnership that we are having with the legislature in terms of the Department of Tourism and Agriculture. But again, we need to invest further into a solution-orientated, invest further in an engagement accord where we don't need to overly spend money into outsourcing thinking tanks and outsourcing inputs. We generally believe that the legislature must invest on its own thinking tank within the boundaries. This budget, when we speak about money, it's an investment which into detail. So we believe that if we are fairly using what we have at our disposal, this budget, even if we're going to get it, it's little, because what we have in our state of affairs as a province, it might look as if valid, it's not going to assist a lot of people. But at least it's a change. Half a loaf is better than nothing. But a social compact and a relationship with the University of Mpumalanga, with its students and the legislature, will go a long way to make sure that some of these measures that are being required in terms of the research, you see there's a terms of research and everything else that we can utilize and reprioritize. The last one, the comment I'm having is that in the budget, if you can go, Chairperson, to where there's economic development, the budget. I don't know whether you can go to that page in the screen for the other stakeholders to see. I just want to highlight something there.
Yeah, just hold on, and I'll request the secretary to do that. Pretty, can you put that slide on? Let's wait for Pretty, unmute. Pretty, yes. Put that slide on. Is this one?
No. Economic development, sir.
Economic development, please, Pretty.
Yes.
Pretty. Can you scroll it down again? Scroll it.
We are on economic development, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I was very much worried, but I was again happy that the agencies of our province, such as MEGA, have been cash-strapped for some time. And I was concerned also because there are certain programs that they have instituted within their part. But I see a dividend of money has been given to that. But my biggest concern is that the economic development needs to invest further in their own funding plan, because the program in terms of youth in particular, graduates, young people in the province, it's the money that is written there. We don't know how it's going to be cascaded. If we can understand how this money is going to be cascaded towards the programs and initiatives that are being done by the legislature, because we know that currently we are fighting against an increase of unemployment rate that is there in our country. And I don't know the statistic of Mpumalanga, but fairly as I can determine that our population are living in a rural scenario where development to them, having a mall is not development. Having a spaza shop, we can see it's development, but it's not enough. Then certain infrastructure investment are not being done in that accord. So my biggest concern is that the economic development it's supposed to have a bigger chunk, also equivalent, at least half of what Department of Health is getting into their own coffers, because there's a lot of problems that we must deal with. The injustices that are caused by having this unemployment rate that is going too high is due to that when we're budgeting programs in the department, the money that is supposed to be there, it ends up to be depleted quicker. Then we believe that if there can be also a recheck on this budget for economic development and tourism, so that we can get assistance, and we'll appreciate that the sustainable relationship we're having with tourism and MTPA as an institution, that it also taking our students throughout the process of working in learning process and programs. It's really appreciated. But since the COVID-19 came in, some of those certain activities have been halted. And that is a very big concern towards us as student leadership that we represent in. So I believe that what I've raised here is sufficient and is a view that I can say that we henceforward the budget reprioritizing again needs to be checked a bit so that it can benefit Julie and fight against the pandemic so that our people are not being turned into casualties, beside of being killed by the pandemic, but being starved to death due to the economic background and material conditions. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks very much. University of Mpumalanga representatives, we thank you very much for your input. Really, it's giving to our presentation here. Can I take Preeti? Is there any stakeholder?
Chair, it's South African Club Churches.
South African.
Chair, it's Rev Dlamini on the line.
Good morning.
Is Mr. Dlamini on the line? Mr. Dlamini, over to you. SCC, over to you, Mr. Dlamini. Reverend Dlamini.
Good morning, Chair.
Yes, good morning. Over to you. Bring back my agenda, Preeti. Over to you, Mr. Dlamini. Reverend Dlamini, can you hear me? South African Council of Churches, Reverend Dlamini, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Chair.
Yes, over to you. You may please make your presentation.
Thank you, Chair, for the invitation, and then thanks to all the stakeholders in this virtual meeting. On behalf of the Council of Churches, we welcome the budget with the following concerns. One, our concern is on agriculture. We are of the view that there's a lot of mining in Mpumalanga. After mining, there should be rehabilitation of the land for food security. And then secondly, Chair, our concern is on human settlement. We are seeing across Mpumalanga the invasion of land, and we are calling upon community dialogue to engage in this process and then to workshop our people, because the land invasion deny number of people proper infrastructure for building. Therefore, call upon proper engagement with communities and as to how we should allow human settlement to further its agenda for human development. And then lastly, Chair, we want to commend the Department of Health and the citizens of Mpumalanga for adhering to the call of combating of the pandemic. However, we are still experiencing number of people serving the precautionary measures. Hence, we are of the view that we need each other in order to win this battle. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dlamini. Is there anyone, Preeti?
Thank you, Chair. We have thank you, Chair. On our list, we have the ANC Youth League. Chair.
Hello?
Chairperson,
Yes, yes, Pretty.
I have received a request from our communication section that Chair, we are live, or we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. So they were requesting that the next stakeholders that will be representing, we request them to switch on their videos.
To switch on their videos.
Yeah, so that the people that are streaming us can see them. Thank you,
Okay.
Chair.
Yes, over to you, ANC. ANC, please. It seems there is no one availing himself of representation. ANC, please.
Chair, I'm not sure if we omitted another stakeholders, but on our list, those were the stakeholders that we have. I'm not sure if there's one stakeholders that we mistakenly omitted.
Okay, thanks very much. Can we go back and check Salga? Salga, are you ready now? Salga?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, Councillor Mgomezulu, over to you. You're
Yes.
audible now.
No, thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. It's Councillor Mgomezulu from Salga.
Yes.
Chair, we as Salga, we really appreciate the opportunity that is provided to us to make inputs on the bill. Well, Chair, we have noted the allocations made to the respective departments. And as the bill is intended to inform the representative body of organized local government on the allocation of funds distributed to the respective departments in the province, including local government. We also take note of the allocation of funds that has been allocated to local government, and it is in our view that there is a need for the sector to do a comparative analysis on the appropriation of funds thereof. So because the provincial legislature requires urgent submission from Salga, and taking note that the matter was received at a short notice. So for Salga to make a formal position on the matter, Chair, we would like to draw the provincial legislature or the committee's attention that Salga's position and mandate on any legislative matter are informed through governance structures and mandating a framework of Salga. So the process thereof, Chair, will be for us as Salga to solicit inputs from our member municipalities, consolidate those inputs and submit to the relevant governance structures for approval. So we are unfortunately, Chair, can't make a formal position now, but we will in due course make a written submission following a comparative analysis that we will have done and concluded, Chair. Thank you very much. Maybe for further engagement, we can be contacted at our Salga Provincial House office, Chair.
Thanks very much, Salga. You are welcome. Just submit that written presentation to us so that you can consolidate our report correctly. Thank you very much for your presentation. Can I check? Okay. Can I check Sanko? Sanko, are you there? Oia? Sanko? None. Can we go to African National Chamber of Commerce? Are you there? African National Chamber of Commerce, are you there? None. Samu? Samu? None. Therefore, we are done with the stakeholders. And thank you very much for those inputs. You have enriched our work and you have enriched our presentation. And all these comments, will consolidate them and we take a report to the legislature for to approve this bill. Can we go to the next item, Pretty, which is Treasury responses and members of the legislature. or members of the committee, with members of the committee, and we'll come to the treasurer to give a response to all these inputs made before us. Honorable members, it's your time now. Honorable members, are you there? It's your time now. Can you?
Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable Makaringa.
Yeah, Chair, for us, it was to hear from our stakeholders so that we consolidate this report to become a legislature report. We appreciate the comments made by our colleagues, and we'll make sure that we take everything into consideration. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Is there anyone, honorable members?
Chairperson, I would like to come in at a certain point in time, please, Chair.
Over to you.
Can I? Yes.
Yes.
Chairperson, you must realize that I am representing an opposition party. And an opposition party must put some... Can I continue?
Yes, continue, sir.
An opposition party is opposition party because they see an opposition party sees government different to the government party. That's my point of departure. And if you ask me what would I do had I been in government, I would say at the point of departure, we do not need more government, we need less government. I think that South Africa is being over-governed, and that is applicable to our province as well. Then the emphasis is wrong. If my party were in government, we would completely realign the funding of different departments. We would put much more emphasis on those departments that creates wealth, that creates further job opportunities, I see where the cuts are being made. The cuts are being made for public works with infrastructure, and I feel that's the wrong way to cut. We must fund those departments that create wealth in this country, that create wealth in our province. And if my party were in government, we would cut the security by 70%. Because I have seen what's going on there, and there's no reason why we should just simply dish out money like they are doing in security services. Those comments, as a point of departure, my party sees government completely different to the governing party. But if I look at what is going on there, taking as a point of departure that the ANC is governing the province, there I would say that even there, I think the cuts are being made at the wrong places and the increases are being paid at the increases. More funding is being done at the wrong places. I realize, and we realize that we are in a crisis situation with health. We realize that we are dealing with a new phenomenon, the COVID-19 phenomenon, and that needs more money. But if that is the starting point, the trial run for the health insurance, then we would be completely against it. If it's only a one-time off to fight the pandemic, then of course we need that. But if that is the trial run for a system where we are going to fund health in the way that is being done this year, then it would be completely against that.
Are you done?